Cool. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a great first 1 hour looking at what Visa has been offering and an amazing presentation, Govind and Mansa. I mean, hats off to that presentation, and the things that you're doing in the market is extraordinary. And I'm sure the solutions that I'll be speaking about for the next half an hour or so will add to that particular whole ecosystem. And I think there's a lot of similarities that we can draw about there. So for everybody, I'm Sandesh. As Sumit just introduced me, I'm part of Perfios Software Solutions. I had the new business initiatives. And it's really great to be part of this wonderful initiative by Fintech OI. So to start with, I'll give you a brief walkthrough of Perfios as a company. So we started way back in 2008. Two amazing gentlemen, Mr. Govindarajan VR and Mr. Devashish Chakraborty, got together to start this company with a theme of personal finance one stop. And this is where the word Perfios actually also comes from. It's personal finance one stop. So Gobi was the co-founder of Aztecsoft, and Bichak was part of Aztec, and he's built some great app servers and some frameworks when he was part of IBM, Watson Labs, as well as in Aztec. So both come with over 30 years of experience in the industry. So the PFM app was actually launched in 2009, but I suppose it was too early in the market and did not see much traction because of which I think there was a wise decision made by the founders then to tilt towards the B2B segment, which is where I think I would say the fortunes changed. So 2013 is when Bajaj and Kotak really found value in this product that actually helped them significantly reduce the time taken to underwrite a loan application. Soon, within 3 years, we had about 100 paying customers, both banks and fintechs. And that is about the time when we also had a Series A from the world's oldest VC, Reseau Venture Partners, more than 100 years old. So they became part of our journey. And between then and now, Perfios has seen tremendous growth, including opening up our international operations. Our Series B funding also happened about in 2020, early 2020, when Warburg Pincus also joined along with the BVP to fund the company. So it's been great. So we have always stood by this vision, which basically is to enable and drive an ecosystem where financial decisions are data backed and taken in real time. Pretty much all of the product that I'll be speaking about holds true for this particular vision that we have been having since day one. So we are a technology-driven product company that powers BFSI clients across geographies to transform digitally using our state-of-the-art data aggregation analytics platform, and of course, a lot of technological innovations. And all of these solutions that Perfios is built on is a strong data platform, and that's the layer 2 that you see. Over the years, we have mastered the art of extraction, analysis, curation of this data from over 850 odd data sources. And this is what is used not just for credit underwriting, but whole lot of other use cases in the banking and the insurance sector as well. And all of these, so on top of this platform is what we have the 3 pillars of Perfios, which is data aggregation analytics solutions, that is data intelligence, as well as the vertical solution. So I'll be speaking about some of the use cases and some of the solutions that actually spans across these 3 pillars in the next few slides. To start with, let's focus on the loan lifecycle in the loan lifecycle space. So there are basically 4 areas. We have just tried to group it all together. First is, of course, the origination and onboarding, where we have 2 products. One is called Integrate. It's a low-code platform to build digital customer onboarding, as well as the loan origination journey. So which basically means that you can pretty much build your own use case on top of this platform. It out of the box supports a whole lot of different loan products as well as customer origination journeys. And it's fully integrated with the latest APIs in the ecosystem to automate the task of onboarding, origination, and make it basically simple for the customer. Second is the Perfios Credit Gateway. And this is a very innovative plug-and-play component for merchants and e-commerce players. So this enables them to offer loan products on their platform. It's basically enabling an embedded finance use case. And it's as simple as, today, plugging in payment gateways. It's basically a set of SDKs that you integrate into your platform and you're ready to start lending. And this is what enables use cases like, BNPL, etc., for retail or for SME customers. Second is the aggregation and document analysis feature, wherein we have the data aggregation analytics product, which is basically our star offering, which is what most of them know us, have been knowing us for the last few years, and of course now with many more propositions that we have. And this is where we help financial institutions aggregate customers' financial statements, whole lot of other data, and consolidate and provide a useful, insightful report that helps underwriters take a wiser decision. So that is basically the aggregated data aggregation platform. The second is the scan document digitization product, which essentially is extending the above solution to also include scan statements, which is basically, as you know, images. Now, be it a bank statement, salary slip, or even financial statements, as complicated as your P&L and balance sheets, etc. These are scanned images. And the thing is, we are probably the only company that actually promises 100% accurate digitization of all this information because of our proprietary hybrid solution of including both OCR, ICR, as well as human-in-the-loop technology. So that's where we differentiate from pretty much everybody in the industry out there. The third is the credit decisioning. Here we have the Perfios AI solution, which is what I'll be speaking about a little bit in more detail. It's essentially a data-backed AI platform that tremendously helps ease the process of loan decisioning. And the second is the fraud analytics. And this is, again, a very innovative product from Perfios, wherein we use some very smart techniques of cross-analysis, public data verification, as well as industry insights to identify potentially fraudulent data that could have been submitted as part of a loan application. We've been seeing a great deal of traction in this particular space lately because of the number of frauds, especially in loan applications, going up. Now, the fourth, of course, is the credit monitoring. So post-sanction, so if your loan is dispersed, then who monitors that? And that is where we can help. Here too, we take the help of data and some really smart technology to identify potential delinquency that might happen and emit early warning signals, help financial institutions take precautionary measures before the accounts actually turn sour. So these are some of our core offering in the lending space, and this is where Perfios has been known for all these years. Moving on to the next step, which is the video KYC. This is essentially to help customers in their onboarding and origination journey, and essentially we offer a video KYC solution compliant to the RBI norms. Then is the personal finance space, and of course this, as I mentioned, is the first product launched about 13 years back, wherein we do have a retail app, but also we provide a plug-and-play module which could be embedded into a bank's digital application for them to offer personal finance features for their customers. Another advanced version of personal finance is the hyper-personalization use case, wherein we are using all the data that we have accumulated about a particular customer and use that for essentially cross-selling and upselling newer products, and also for using basically the targeted marketing concept. So that is where the hyper-personalization use case comes into picture. Next is, of course, the chatbot. This is basically a bot tweaked for the financial industry, for the financial sectors. It helps, you can build pretty much all of the origination journeys as well on the bot as a question and answer means, and the use cases are limitless, and you can do servicing as well on the bot. Yeah, eighth one is the account aggregation. So most of you may already know the whole open banking ecosystem in India, the RBI-driven Sahanati ecosystem. And we are one of the few players in the space, and we are seeing this. The space to be a really promising space, and it's growing. Started to grow, and we see that we will be playing a bigger role in this particular segment in the months to come. Finally, the claim education. This is one segment which is outside the banking space. It's in the insurance segment. This is where we're using the products and skills that we have built in the banking sector and replicating it in the insurance market. And of course, the acceptance has been great in this particular space as well. So some of the this basically speaks about. These are few numbers which we are really proud of, and as they say, numbers speak louder than words. So the first point here is that 95% reduction in loan application processing time. That is what Perfios has contributed to most of the banks and financial institutions that we have partnered with. About 60% reduction in cost due to various different reasons. For example, improving the quality of the underwriting, including removing the requirement of so many people for one loan application. The whole runners that are required to go and physically verify a document, or the number of days a particular underwriter takes for a credit decisioning is all now reduced because of the solutions that Perfios offers. Third is basically we have close to about 3% of applications that we process are identified as fraudulent, which is essentially helping the FIs reduce their risk. And fourth one is what we are really proud of, is being part of the whole financial inclusion initiative. We have helped over 100 plus new lenders who are essentially focusing on new to credit segment. We have helped them achieve close to about 30% year-on-year growth because of the kind of insights that Perfios solution provides to them, and that's what they've been using for all their decisioning. The numbers on the right side is basically something that is very significant, and we are proud of. We process close to about 20 million transactions per month. 13% of the FIs that we've seen have digitized lending today, and 90% of the transaction goes through us. This is basically in India, and we are providing an uptime of about 99.8%. These are some of our marquee customers, and of course, this includes public sectors, private sector banks, international banks, fintechs, NBFCs. So we're pretty much working with anyone and everyone out there, both in India as well as abroad. We are present in about 13 countries across Asia, Middle East, as well as in Europe. Again, some more numbers that speaks about our achievement. 270 odd financial institutions and top banks are who we are catering to, 20 million transactions per month, 99.8% uptime, zero instance of any security breach we've seen in the last 11 years, actually should be 13 years since inception. 2,500 types of bank statements we support. These are the physical bank statement that a customer would typically upload for the purpose of credit decisioning. 741 banks they've integrated into our platform for pulling out bank statements and other transaction details. We undergo close to about 95 audits per year from all the top banks and global audit firms. And as I said earlier, about 850 different sources of data is what Perfios today uses for all the different decisioning that it does on the platform to help banks in various different use cases. Of course, security has always been in the forefront of any innovation that we do, and we are really proud of keeping security in the front because we are working in an industry where definitely security is the number one priority than anything else. The awards have been flowing in essentially thanks to the innovation that Perfios has been driving in the industry. A whole lot of awards in the past few years. There are many more which couldn't really fit the slides, so eliminated them. So that's essentially the introduction to Perfios. And what I'll do next is speak a little bit more about the AI-backed credit decisioning. So this is a segment and area that has seen a lot of traction in the recent past. So Perfios AI is the name of the product that we offer. So as you know, digital proliferation across the world. I mean, it is it's continuously evolving the way in which we do things, and it's undergoing. We as we interact with banks and non-banking entities also, a lot of transformation has happened over the years. With the customers transacting on digital platforms more and more, and even before, more and more, it is basically leaving behind a lot of trail of digital footprints. Now, this is where the new set of data that could provide new insights about customers for banks, for the purpose of, again, it will be credit decisioning or anything else. And especially considering customers who have been neglected for a lot of years, which is basically first-time borrowers or new to credit customers. How do you assess if a customer will basically repay your money or not? So we leverage a lot of new age data, apart from, of course, a traditional set of data like the banking, the bureau, the ITRs, the salary slips, and you name it. So we are helping a lot of these smart banks and NBFCs and fintechs also leverage this new source of data using our cutting edge data analytics platform called Perfios AI to make their lending decision data back more accurate, real time, and hence drastically reducing the amount of time taken to process a loan, as well as to reduce the cost pressures on them. It's very important to know that the traditional policy-driven rule approach that underwriters were using for all these years are great. They definitely have worked for all these years. However, with the rapidly evolving digital ecosystem, this traditional approach brings about a little bit of a baggage. It makes it difficult to keep in pace with the advancement of the ecosystem and what the customers demanded. Right now, this is where the Perfios platform helps in automating the credit decisioning while also making it fully transparent, explaining the reason why every decision was taken as well. So that has been our core USP as well, which we'll be speaking about a little bit later. So with Perfios AI, credit decisioning no longer needs to be subjective and restricted to fixed business rules that were approved maybe ages ago. Perfios AI brings about the agility to the credit team to maneuver quickly, helping them launch new products and new set of data and new insights, along with, of course, a traditional set of data as well. So far, we have helped disperse over 2 million loans and help reduce loss levels to less than 3.5% in many of the segments of the loans across the globe. So that's basically a quick, full overall introduction to Perfios AI. Now, apart from this, of course, if you ask a banker what are the typical challenges when it comes to credit decisioning, you'll hear a long list of things, and that's what I've included here. One is subjective decision making. So many would be surprised that if the same application is submitted in the same bank, but two different branches, two different teams or underwriters looking at it, it could end up being, decided differently. One of them may be approved, the other one might not be approved. That's because a lot of things are still very subjective based on the underwriter's capability of assessing risk and how does he perceive a particular application. The second one is, of course, the inability to automate business rules. Now, as I spoke earlier, with digital data coming in, it's difficult to keep up with the pace of new set of data, and business rules makes it a little bit more cumbersome to handle all that. Too much time taken in decisioning. That's because of all this information that's coming. You need to start validating all this information, verifying the authenticity of the data. That also becomes challenging, and that needs to be solved for. Lack of knowledge of using a non-traditional data. You ask an underwriter, go to him and say, him or her, and say that, what is your view on the telco data that this customer, that I have this customer. The underwriter would have no clue of how to use the telco data for the purpose of credit decision. So that is another area where lack of knowledge of non-traditional data could play a big role in the coming few days, months, years. Next is a siloed approach. Underwriters look at bank statement separately when it is submitted for loan underwriting. They look at salary slips, for example, separately. They look at bureau score separately and put all of these together in their mind. Now, basically saying, oh, he had so many delinquencies there. He had, one check bounce here. His score is so much, and his salary is great. So how do I put this all together in my mind? Becomes a little bit more complex and tedious, and especially when new sources comes in, it becomes kind of impossible to work that all out in the mind. So that is again something that is quite important, to have a single unified view of all the application data. Fraudulent application data, as I spoke earlier, is becoming quite normal these days to, for people to apply using fraudulent sources of information. And how does an underwriter, even assess some of these unless and until you sit and verify all of them manually, which basically means that the time taken to do that whole validation becomes huge, and cost indirectly, that means also increases. So how do you minimize that? The other point, very important, is the tools that do not provide transparency. What I mean by that is, banking as a sector has been in the forefront of adopting technology, including AI ML. Even if you, go back 4 or 5 years back when AI was still in not too mature, people have been experimenting with banks and fintechs, especially, have been experimenting with AIs. But one of the core reasons why the adoption has not increased, or nobody has really brought it to the forefront to production, maybe, is because AI traditionally have been a black box, which means that it works out all the rules inside and gives you a final answer saying red, amber, or green. Now, a traditional underwriter would find it very hard to digest, to take a number which doesn't have any backing as to why this particular number has come up. Why is it red? Why is it amber? Why is it green? So that has been a problem statement of AI for all these years, and that is where we have been focusing, putting a lot of work, and we've brought in this whole transparency solution, which is basically an explainable AI, wherein every decision has information that is backing up that particular decision. And the underwriter, if he wants to see that, he or she wants to look at it for the purpose of validating if it's saying correctly or not, all that information is available in the front for them to look at it and validate.
Hi, Sandesh.
Yes.
Really sorry to interrupt.
No,
just in order to consider with the time, it would be great if you could wrap up in the next couple of minutes.
I will. Yes, I am actually wrapping up. So next is, of course, the operational cost involved in the whole underwriting process is what we try to solve. So these are problems we solve. So taking a look at the holistic approach in which AI, the Perfios AI works, I've just taken an example of a SME coming and applying for a loan. Now, an SME would be dealing with a non-financial marketplace like sort of India Mart or a Farmies or any other things. And these platforms do have a lot of data in terms of how that particular SME has been performing in that particular space and what is business growing like. So that's a source of data. Next is the bank data from LOS, core banking system, trade finance. It's an important source of data. Government databases like EPFO. EPFO says how many employees you've got, how much of provident fund you're being paying. It's a good source of assessing an SME's growth or other ways as well. Ministry of Corporate Affairs is data could be very useful. NSDL for PAN verification, Aadhaar, it. Then alternate data. So, for example, Visa could provide information, consented customer information about a transaction of how the customer has been transacting on the platform, or how many late payments have happened, things like that. SMS is also a great source of alternate data. Then there's verification data. You can verify the customer's address remotely, or vehicle information, professional information. If he says a doctor or an engineer or a chartered accountant or a company secretary, how do you verify that digitally without having to physically verify that particular person? And of course, the financial data, including the likes of GST and tax information from income tax department, bureau, account aggregation, the whole open banking source of data are all important sources which are all considered and based on which the information is crunched and the decision is taken. And that's where That's how we come up with the borrower entity score, sub-score, loan eligibility indicator, whether this person is eligible or not, and that takes into consideration a lot of different factors. And also risk-based loan features like grantable amount, interest, variable interest rate, loan term, etc., and confidence level. So this is what the Perfios AI engine essentially, the crux of it does. And of course, it uses a data model which creates a multi-dimensional profile of a customer based on demographic, financial information, credit, environmental, economic, transactional, etc. So a whole heap of information that could be plugged in. So which means it's even future-proof. Some of the information, for example, may not be available today, like say the weather or GIS or the agriculture information, which is useful for say rural loans or for agri loans. But when the APIs are available, it could be readily plugged in and it's ready to go. The modules are, I mean, of course, you can also plug in the business rules and policies on top of the platform. It's made modular to suit the requirements of new age fintechs as well as traditional banks who are still not too comfortable moving away from the business rule kind of an approach. So that's basically it. And also, I just wanted to mention the USP, which I've already said, which is about responsible and fair lending, and how is it enabled is through being transparent about the decision that it's been taken and being able to explain as to why a decision has been taken. I'll leave you with this last screen, which is basically a couple of dashboards of the application, which includes some of the views that underwriter might want to take, although most of this could be automated. Hence, yeah, you may not see the screens also, but in case underwriter has to look at it for the first few months to validate the solution, there is a dashboard where you can see the loan application, the status of it, the various reasons behind a particular decisioning that has been taken, the scores that have been derived for that particular application, also the MIS report in terms of the KPI monitoring. How are the loans trending? Is the bad loans going up? Is the good loans going up? What is the volume that you're seeing, and all that? So that's essentially a quick roundup of the platform. And hopefully that gives you a good perspective of what Perfios does and what we do in this whole area of credit decisioning, etc. Please feel free to reach us. You can reach out to me on this particular mail address, or through Fintech OI. Also, we are reachable. So yeah, thanks a lot for listening to me over the last half an hour. If you have any questions, you can shoot it out to me, or we can take it later as well.
Great. Thanks a lot, Sandesh. It was quite an amazing insight in terms of the whole Perfios capabilities. With that, what I'll do is I'll hand over the mic to my colleague Nitesh, who can moderate the couple of questions that we have come on the chat box. And with that, separately, we would like move on a parallel note. We'll move to the closed door pitches with the visa. So all the participants who have any sort of questions around the on the Perfios talk, please post your questions down below, where while all the pitching startups who are there, kindly hold on in the meeting room itself. We will reach out to you soon. Hi, Nitesh.
Thank you, Sumit. Yeah.
Yes. Over to you. If you could moderate a couple of questions on the chat box, that would be great.
Sure. So there's a one question from Pawan. Is all this data currently used for credit underwriting only, or are you sharing this data with any user beyond credit fraud? Sandesh?
So it depends on the type of data that you're asking for. We do expose a lot of different verification APIs. So there are a lot of unconsented data that are available, which is publicly available as well. We are providing APIs. There are certain consented data on customer consent. You could pull these information as well, and we give that information as APIs. We do give insights as well. So it's not just raw data. In case you want, for example, categorized data or insights out of these, all those are also available as standalone APIs, which you could consume for different use cases.
That's great, Sandesh. So there are like few other as well. So how about income and tax payment data?
Yeah, income and tax payment data could be pulled on customer consent. So these are not unconsented data. And yes, it can be, we can process a customer's income. So there are various ways in which, say, for example, an income can be derived. You could use, maybe ask the customer to upload his bank statement. We run our engine on top of the bank statement and assess the income. You could ask the customer to upload his salary statements. We triangulate the salary statement with and compare with the bank statement as well, and give a holistic triangulated view as well. You can ask the customer to upload the ITR GST as well. ITR information, and also Form 16, Form 26. So a lot of different sources are available. This could be as simple as customer upload, or it could be fetched from the different sources as well, based on customer's consent. So all of these are definitely possible, and we can definitely have a more detailed discussion on that.
That's great, Sandesh. I hope, Pavanam, you got your answer on that. We have another question from Timanna. How do you work with other fintech in digital lending in collaboration model if they're lending specialist for borrower segment?
Yeah, there are different models we could look at. Frankly, we don't have a standard approach that we have. It all depends on the case-to-case basis that we can definitely evaluate in terms of working with fintechs. If you are a borrower, definitely we can work with you to help. If you're a lender lending to the market, if you're a B2C kind of an application platform and you want to start lending from tomorrow onwards, we can provide the entire infrastructure that is required for you to enable that whole lending ecosystem, right from, as I said, from onboarding a customer, origination, loan origination, to LMS. We have an LMS platform as well, to monitoring, assessment, servicing. All that is taken care of. So end to end, they can help you go live pretty soon.
All right, Sandesh. I hope Simona got. Simona, do you have LMS and collection system?
LMS, yes. Collection, I wouldn't say yes right now, but it will be a yes very soon.